Leader of Opposition Business.
Thank you, Madam President. And of course, I will be extremely brief on this one. But to ask a few very important questions, if one were to decide to make a decision as to whether you support a motion for more borrowing. I found it interesting, Madam President, that the leader of government business was able to provide salient information on a PPP of the past administration that made reference to the IRR, internal rate of interest. You had pertinent information that would have been useful to accompany your own proposal on the airport. And I think for this motion, there is some information that would be helpful in supporting what you've brought before the House to borrow $40-something million. But even before I ask that, I want to just make some observation. And while you spoke very loudly how appreciative the government is about schools and housing, I just need to note that there are about 110 schools on the island, and by virtue of $4 million US, that means you're spending just about $90,000 per school. I'm saying per average. I said average. If we were to see to it, because you made a point that 70% of our school plans were built 40 years ago. That means a large percentage of our school plans need assistance. And therefore, while you, Madam, don't tell me gradually, you made a presentation that we are putting $4 million to take care of our schools, and our government care about schools. I'm just making the point. I'm just making the point that it could only address so much. Yes? So it is a very small amount relative to the problem that we have. As a matter of fact, Madam President, as a matter of fact, it was the Prime Minister who indicated that the Castries Comprehensive School would take approximately either $13 million or $12 million. That means the $4 million, based on his own estimate, would not be adequate to renovate the Castries Comprehensive School, if that is correct. Housing, Madam President, I do welcome the idea for housing, but housing is an area that I'm particularly concerned about. Because I believe in this policy, Madam President, that the public sector should not go in areas where the private sector should. And that government should really address areas that the private sector is unable. So I would like to know, where is it in terms of the government's housing policy that this injection of $10 million, where exactly is it being spent? If we were building houses, bungalow houses of approximately 800 square foot, Madam President, a two-bedroom house, costing about $250,000, the amount allocated, they would only be able to do about 42 of them. And if, for example, we were building 42 houses, I would ask, where are we targeting 42? Who are receiving such, if that was being done? So just a perspective of $10 million into housing, what exactly are we doing? Who are we targeting? Bearing in mind, Madam President, I believe that government should only intervene in areas where the private sector cannot. So for example, Madam President, I believe if that persons can go to the bank and get a loan and build a home, then I think government should encourage persons to do so and create the environment for persons to build their homes that way. I think government should address housing in areas where there needs to be social housing programs for persons ordinarily who could not go to the bank but need shelter. I'm just saying that is my policy. That's a policy. I'm suggesting this. And that's why I'm speaking. So I'm saying that in the presentation made by the leader of government business, I noticed that this government is poised mainly to rebut but not to provide information, Madam President. As if the opposition do not ask questions, the persons out there in the public would be left in the dark. Well, I thought you would have spent more time in articulating these policy statements as against beating your chest as to so much of what government is doing. Highlight the salient points. $42 million US for road improvement and maintenance program. And again, you cited a revenue stream. Madam President, it is documented, and when I speak not just of St. Lucia, but the islands of the Eastern Caribbean do have a challenge in maintaining roads, period. It's a major problem. And very few islands have been able to get on top of the issue of road maintenance. As a matter of fact, Madam President, every time we construct a new road, whether it's through a feeder road, there's a cost in maintaining it. And it's really something that has just left us. And as to how we pull that back is a serious discussion. I understand that there's an allocation made towards, and I think one referred to that as a revenue stream to support the borrowing of $42 million. The cost of road maintenance per mile is significant. And $42 million US, one would ask, in terms of maintenance, how do you leverage that in terms of construction of new roads and maintenance of existing roads? How do you apportion it? And if you're going to construct new roads, knowing very well your current road network, you are challenged with the maintenance of it. What is in place for you to be able to maintain new roads? And what kind of roads are you building and where? So before we say that we come in to borrow because we care and what have you, at this time of the year, we know that there are a few Christmas trees with no gifts below it. And there are some people who are trying hard to put gifts in boxes, but probably have no one to give it to. They probably have no children. It's important that if we come in here, we provide information so that members here and the general public can have an appreciation of what is being said and what we're about. So I would like for that to be answered so that we can make an informed decision as to whether we support this resolution or not. Thank you very much.